Welcome, everyone. My name is Nichel Anderson. I'm your host for my podcast show, Nichel Anderson Short Stories and Beyond. Thank you so much for tuning in during my summer break of 2019, which is from June to August. And then I'll return back in September for my next season, which will be season 3, 2019 to 2020. During the summer, I did decided to now only release an episode, which is going mainly short, or it's just, to the point, and we keeping it moving here during the summer. I'm taking a break and I am enjoying my summer. I'm just going to tell you that I am relaxing. You hear me? Glad to focus on today's episode, which is July 15th, where I'm going to talk about my future plans for season 3 and to talk about some of my favorite season episodes from season 2, 2018 to 2019. I kind of touched on that last month, but I'm going to highlight a little bit more now on this particular episode. So let's go ahead and get started. I want to focus on the future plans for season 3, and it came to me during May. If you're just now following me, particular podcast that I created, my short stories, is mainly based on my book Mitsrayim, that focus on ancient Egypt. I do write about other short stories that I released during my season, but mainly the podcast originated from that whole project. The podcast started 2017, right? And the vision that I had, which I talk about this in my book Mitsrayim, came through with episode 1, before the time of Princess Aamina. She's the lead character that came through in the book. That's, of course, was in the stage plays that I did and the short film that I did and the websodes. She's not really on the scene doing the podcast creation from that seed of writing the book Mitsrayim many years ago. Okay. And this May of 2019, this came to me, Nahor. He's one of the key characters in the book and all the previous productions that I just named. He just came really through real strong to focus on him. And when I left this last season 2, Queen Hagar is still pregnant. When I did that episode 1, you have to go back and check out that episode. That's one of my ultimate favorite. That's the one that got named last year as my favorite episode before the time of Princess Aamina, episode 1, because that was the vision that came through real strong when I was starting my other podcast show, which you need to check that out. That's a motivational type podcast that I do, Surviving Your Journey Towards Success. And it came through to do another one, but focus on my passion of writing, which the vision that I saw was the characters from the book Mitsrayim. And I'm like, wow, do another podcast, do 2? And I jumped ahead and followed spirit, and I did it. So fast forward to now, back in May, as I mentioned earlier, Nahor, I just felt to focus on him, where it's before the 2 kings arrive on the scene during Princess Aamina time. According to the podcast, this podcast show, Princess Aamina is not born yet. The clues is that Queen Hagar is pregnant with the future princess, daughter between Queen Hagar and King Milan. So this past 2 years or what have you, we've just been focusing on before that moment of birth. But in May, Nahor came through to fast forward. And that's where I'm coming to, that I kind of gave a couple of hints during the last few weeks in May of season 2 this year, that we're going to focus on Nahor and Princess Aamina. I'm going to fast forward the track so Queen Hagar can finally have the baby. I know I'm just dragging it on for Queen Hagar to still have the baby because, I don't know, it's just so much coming through that I want to talk about, write the short stories on, to bring it all together. And so I'm not really, because once I do that, it kind of changed and we got to bring her friends in, and I'm trying to wait on that. But Nahor's spirit came to me to kind of write about him. So I'm calling it the Future Series of Nahor and Princess Aamina. And just to announce that will start in September when the season returns. And I'm planning it for right now for at least the first 2 months, 2 months and a half, maybe 3, but I'm not sure. And then we will return back to some other short stories, which I have not decided that I'm going to bring back Atlantis yet. I will. I'm just not sure when. It might be towards the end of the season or going into next summer. That was another new production that I just started in my season 2. But yeah, I'm really interested in, because if you've been following me and if you bought the book, the vision just came during that chapter 1 with Nahor and Princess Aamina. So their lives just came to me in the sense where they're, turning 18, right? I never had the opportunity to go back prior. Heck, if you read the book, they had a whole bunch of activities going on, okay, from that moment on. So this whole journey with the podcast is just coming through that I'm able to see these scenes, because I'm not writing them out. I'm not doing any type of idea type character board. They're just coming through when I'm ready to sit down and think about what next do I want to write, what's the next release date, and now it's time for me to sit and think about what's coming next, and then I'm just writing it out. So it's a wonderful journey for me. I hope it's for you, and and that's what I'm excited for. That will be part of season 3. I am planning to bring in a sense of guests, either guest speaker. I do an interview with them. They read a script. So I do still plan to do that for season 3. So I'm excited about that. But I really am about this future series of Nahor and Princess Aamina. Some of the scenes that are coming through is just amazing, because it's just like a puzzle. It's hard to explain. I'm trying to do that, but it's just amazing, because when I wrote the book, that in itself was a journey. Now fast forward doing the podcast, I'm learning the background, these characters of these people's lives, and it's coming all together, and then something else happened, and then the trail leads to something else. So it's like finding a treasure in one room, and then it leads you to the next, and it leads you to the next level. So it's very exciting for me, and I hope it's exciting for you. So this is before the 2 kings, which in the production that I did, it was King Damar and King Daniel. They're not on the scene yet, and it's going to be during the time where Nahor and Princess Aamina, before they consider to be a teen, like preteen or what have you. I haven't really solidified if it's going to be younger than 10 years old. I'm thinking about more that I see the vision and then I write it, like around close to 12. That's what's coming up, okay? And it's even before Salma. So we get to find out all these ideas, especially how Nahor had the connection to get that transport, that star transport that I write about in the book. So that's very interesting. You're going to get some clues of how he progressed into getting that connected at such a young age. So I'm very excited about that. The next thing I want to talk about is kind of hone on that when I talked about the summer releases, the frequency. When we start back in September 2019, going to the new season of season 3, it will be bi-weekly. So every 2 weeks there will be an episode. So I'm walking away, or at least I should say I'm kind of closing doing it weekly so I can focus on other projects that's associated with the podcast and other things, which I want to highlight that I'm still in the prep phase for my return back for the MOLIAE Stageplay, which is a bigger production with more characters. But as well, when I return back for season 3, the episodes will be bi-weekly instead of weekly, and that really will leave some that extra time that's needed, because I like to deliver my podcast on time, and so I can do other creative things, right? Hopefully you will enjoy when I release them. So just want to touch on that. The other thing I want to talk about, that my plans is to do more interviews and where they are reading the script and being a part of the scene. Mahogany is definitely coming back. That's one of my other heart gems, and I'm really excited about that. And did get a chance to bring in an actor, or actors I should say, that can sing. And I really want to be able to do that. So that was kind of like a nugget, a surprise I wanted to do last season. I didn't get around to do that. Hopefully this season 3, when I bring back Mahogany, because Jules is now the South, so she's gonna meet other people. You want to find out, what's really going on during the Harlem Renaissance time. So Mahogany is definitely coming back. So it's Atlantis that is still TBA of when I'm gonna bring that back. That was a big production how I brought that to fruition there. So that's basically most of that I wanted to relay. My plans is definitely MOLIAE is coming back, but we're going to be focusing on the timeline where Nahor is on the scene, Princess Aamina is on the scene. They've been born, and now it's just fast forward and it's about them. All right, so I did also want to kind of talk about another part of just naming some of the episodes that I felt that were the best. All of them were, but the ones that I remember, of course, I talked about that last release in last month was General Tukan Speaks Truth. I also have to call out again the Heni when he arrived in Tamat. That was a very, very, very good one that I thought that was very impressive. So I really like that as well. And there's another one. King Milan accepts Rulin's new message. King Milan accepts Rulin's message. That was episode 49. That was a clip snippet. And I like that because Rulin, everybody in one way or the other in life, and that's why I hope that in my short stories as well as my other podcasts, I try to have people think about things that can influence them about their lives and how they can come to a conclusion to make the right choice at the moment, to do what's right at the end of the day. And Rulin could have sided with Natu, the Orion, even though the really influencer was Queen Hagar, because evidently he still had feelings for her. But he put his dislike for Milan because Queen Hagar chose him to marry, and did what was right and gave the information to King Milan, as well as the information of General Tukan, which, if you've been following the podcast, General Tukan, or Tukan, is the father of the now General Comrade Tatar. And so I like that episode because he fought through the resistance to not get caught up in that negativity or, like I say, hating on Milan, and did what was right. So that was a very good episode. So if you have time, go in and check that out. It's episode 49, King Milan accepts Rulin's message. And then there was another one that I wanted to focus on that comes to mind. That was basically on Atlantis. What I was talking about earlier, when I'm going to bring that back. I loved every single one of them, and I was so grateful for the guest speakers that came and read the character lines. And I really liked the last one, which is the persistent will always prevail. So that was bonus part 4. That was published on February 25th, 2019. Check that out. And I like that all the parts of it, but towards the end, where you have the main character, the sister, the twin, and she feels she feels that she has an idea of who was behind the kidnapping of their brother, and how she had that scene with her pet, or we should say that, but yeah, her pet, you could say that, yeah, and that close relations to humans and those that live in the sea. And you just got to check out that episode and how that kind of happened and got to the point towards the whole end of that, a bonus part 4. It really moved me, and I hope it moved you, because it shows that even during the stress that we go through in life, we have to listen to our intuition, or listen to our inner voice that tells us not only to have the faith that's needed to move forward, but to be persistent and to always look beyond the obvious to find the truth. And that's what she basically was doing, All right, so that's basically it. I know I didn't really highlight this, but the next time I do another one, I'm going to highlight again another episode. I'm going to do it each one of these. That I think I got one more release this summer, but I'm also going to take the time to say, I want to name some other of my favorites of my episodes that I released during my season. So I did just want to do those two. Thank you so much. Thank you for supporting my podcast. Download my app. If you like it, please share it with someone. If you haven't purchased my book, go ahead and get support and purchase my book. Those that have already did, thank you. Talk to you soon. Happy summer.